The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
Tonight, it's the United Sim Racing B and C Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series here at the Lucas Oil Speedway for tonight's Lucas Oil Speedway 200. Tonight in the booth, I'm Austin Coop, alongside me, Trevin Valderrama, and we've got Cisco Scarmuza, as always, making sure that we have that picture for you on the stream, bringing it you live on YouTube and other streams as well. This is a quite different picture that we're seeing tonight, Trevin. The admins have decided to put Lucas Oil on the schedule as something that is completely different than what you would normally see on the truck schedule. I think it's going to be really cool to see these trucks out here on this track and competing in a completely different way than what they normally do when they don't go here on the normal truck schedule. These guys are really looking for something to be a little bit out there.
Yeah, absolutely. We go from Talladega, a long track, all the way down to one of the shortest tracks on the schedule, Lucas Oil Raceway. This is a 0.6 mile track, and it's just going to be amazing to see all these drivers take that high line that is preferred, of course. For 200 laps, it is definitely a different track on the schedule, and we are just getting ready to go racing.
Yeah, most definitely. When you start to look at the qualifying right now and the practice times, Christian Peterson and a lot of other drivers had a lot of practice outside of tonight's practice session because of the fact that the track and the setup are going to be completely different. But right now, we'll take a look at your points and see where your favorite drivers are at. Seth the Merchant currently leads the point standings. Mind you, he is one race behind on some of these drivers as well. So he is in first place with 10 points of a buffer between himself and Aaron Bennett. Cody Gibson finds himself in third. Walker is in fourth in a comfortable position as well as Justin Michael, who also is down one race. Rich Jetty finds himself in sixth place. Scott Simley finds himself seventh. Tim Matthews is ninth, or is in eighth. Scott Formosa is ninth. And then Michael Atkins Jr. is in the 10th position. Matt Mara, 11th. Chris Cabot, 12th. That's your cutoff right there, is your top 12. And really looking to see what these guys can do tonight, as there actually is a tie right behind these guys for 13th place between Mark McCurry and Michael Warren as well.
Yeah, you're going to be seeing these guys battle all night probably to get themselves into the top 12. It doesn't really matter what race you're in. You're going to always want to stay within that top 12 because you know 12th is the cutoff line, and it's going to get more and more intense as we get later on into the season, as we see more tracks coming up on the schedule.
And speaking of this track, how it's so unique, it is a familiar track for Cisco. It's an Indianapolis track in Brownsburg, Indiana, and it's a little more than half a mile. It's 0.6, almost 0.7 miles. So this is not your typical half mile. And what's also not typical about it is they will be running towards the top of the track with the 12-degree banking that there is on the asphalt surface. These drivers will not be driving at the bottom. They will definitely be driving at the top. These cars bring so much momentum, and the top is where you want to be. Now, when you're in modifieds and a lot of other cars that have a little bit less horsepower under their machines, they'll go towards the bottom of the track. But here, they're going to be going towards the top, and you'll definitely see a lot of these guys scrape the wall, as you see multiple scuffs already on the track.
Yeah, watching qualifying, a lot of guys got into the wall in the turns. You got to be careful with that. Again, running that high line, there's always a risk of hitting the wall. Again, you know, you're talking about that banking that wasn't really there, and you know, the tires are going to get eaten up quickly, so they're going to be asking for tires quicker than they're going to be asking for gas. So it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers all adjust to how this track adjusts as well over the race of 200 laps.
That is one of the biggest things, is how you can adjust to something like this, something that is not typical on the schedule. And we will see that later on in the season. The first race on the chase, or the chase cutoff, 3 races later, you'll be at Watkins Glen, which is some place that these guys typically go in the middle of the season. Another track that these guys will go to that's a little different is USA International Speedway. So when you look at this track in particular, you'll say, wow, this is different, but they still have a lot of room. When they go to USA, it'll be a different story, and I think I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do there at that particular track. But after Lucas Oil tonight, it'll be Charlotte, Dover, Pocono, which is tracks that these guys almost always go to. But one thing they wanted to do was they wanted to still have Pocono, but they wanted to have something else instead. So they took one Pocono race out and put Lucas Oil and USA in there. I'm unsure what the other race was that they decided to withhold, but nonetheless, qualifying is going on. But looks like there's only 14 drivers who have made their time stick right now. So unsure if these drivers have hit the wall, have not gone out for a second run or not. But yeah, these guys still, yeah, a lot of these guys they only get one shot at the qualifying lap, so I think that's going to be a big thing about it.
Yeah, you know, you gotta be careful when you're going through the qualifying laps here, as we're seeing a lot of these guys scrape the wall, and you know, it slows their momentum down, and then they just want to get out of the car because they have no chance of contending with you know, the times that are being put up right now, which are about 21-22 seconds. It's going to be interesting to see. Again, like, this is going to happen during the race. It's going to be interesting to see how these drivers, again, adjust to this track and adjust to each other, as they're going to be, no doubt, if you're racing in a pack, there's going to be a car hitting the wall, so you're going to have to adjust to how that driver hits the wall, and you have to make a maneuver out of the way. Or if you're going to be caught up in that incident, as you know, this is a short track, and you know, you're going to be bumping, and tempers might be flaring, and you know, it's going to be an exciting show tonight.
On board with Ricky Howell Jr. His lap matching did not count that last or that first time. Remember, they only get 1 lap in qualifying, so that extra little bit he was doing was, I think, just for a little bit of extra practice here, as only 14 trucks. They're the only 14 trucks, their laps made it and counted. So there's going to be a lot of shuffling around here at the beginning of this race that drivers are going to have to be really, really patient. But when it comes to the top of the board, it is Christian Peterson and that number 32 machine. He will start from tonight's pole. Very close, though, to his outside will be Jamie Walker. Very close for that pole. It was only 4 1/1000ths of a second. Jamie Walker will get second. Ralph Vander Vorst, he will get the 3rd position with Aaron Bennett to his outside. In 4th, Joshua Banks will start in the 5th position. Matt Mara, 6th. Chris Cabot, 7th. Dwayne Dunn will start in the 8th position. Robert Gillenwater, he'll start from 9th. And then Keith Butt will start from 10th.
Starting 11th will be Scott Formosa. Starting 12th, Lewis Rubin. 13th will be Steve Price Jr. 14th will be Jeff Ryan. Seth the Merchant, coming off of a win last week, he'll start 15th place. Bobby Terrell, 16th. Justin Michael, 17th place. Scott Simley, 18th place. Mark McCurry, 19th place. And running at your top 20, Greg Mall.
Justin Hall finds himself starting from the 21st position with Ricky Howell 22nd. Remember, all these drivers from Seth the Merchant on did not get a qualifying time in, so that's why they're starting either so far back or just in an oddly stacked formation. Michael Atkins Jr. is 23rd. George Hendricks starts from the 24th position. Rich Jetty starts 25th. Cody Gibson 26th. James Nunn 27th. Michael Warren 28th. Randy Yoakum 29th. Brian Cutts 30th. Shane Hawthor 31st. Michael Waite 32nd. And Stephen Herring will start shotgun on the field and 33rd position. And that's been a look at your LSRTV starting grid. Something I do want to mention, though, is that the way that these guys are gridded on standard iRacing format is that after everyone's made their qualifying effort, so the top 14, they'll stay where they are, but everyone afterwards from 15th on back, that's over half the field, they get started based on their official iRating. So their official rating in iRacing on official side does have to play here in their in the hosted and league side as well. You're actually seeing a few drivers stick to the bottom of the pit road, which means they are electing to give themselves an end-of-the-line penalty here at the beginning of this race. Could be smart, depending on how this race goes with accidents and wrecks and stuff like that, but it could also be a big problem if this goes green the whole way. Just going to have to see how it turns out from.
Yeah, this is basically your typical short track Bristol Martinsville for NASCAR, and you know, sometimes you're going to want to choose to start in the back and maybe avoid some early on wrecks going into turn 1, coming into turn 3. But you know, there's always a possibility of it going flag to flag, and it'll be difficult coming from the back all the way to the front if it does in fact go flag to flag. It's going to be hard for these people. It's easy to lap on a short track, and with Christian Peterson out front, I'd be looking out for that.
These guys will have about 3/4 of a lap to go before we start green. This is a 200-lap race, so a lot of racing action is to be played out. The fuel cell is unknown because we have not raced here, so we'll have to see where that is. And I know that with drivers short pitting, drivers long pitting, so that pit road is really unique here. You have to dive below that grass, kind of homestead style here at this racetrack. So the pace car already down and away, and when will Christian Peterson go? He'll have to wait till turn 4 to get it done. But we will go 200 laps here at Lucas Raceway, and he's on the get loud pedal. It looks like the 88 actually beats him to the line right there, and we're going green flag racing.
Christian Peterson edging out the number 88 of Jamie Walker into turn 1. Coming out of turn 2, Jamie Walker going into the inside. Watch out from Christian Peterson coming into turn 3. He's going to try to get it there. No, just that top lane's already coming into effect as you see the number 88 Jamie Walker trying to get something happening on that bottom middle-ish, and you see
39 in the wall.
Big contact.
Big wreck in turn number 1. Well, there's even more. They're still wrecking. Big wreck, and something that none of these guys wanted to happen. That was a big wreck. A lot of cars involved, and that is not something you want to see on lap number 2. I think it started with Dwayne Dunn, but it was, I think, multiple cars were getting into each other there, but Dwayne Dunn in the 39 was the start of it all.
You can see on the replay the number 22 kind of gets into the wall, so 39 has to make a drastic dive down at the inside. Again, having to adjust to those drivers going into the wall, and then 33 was just right there, sent it right into the back of the 39, and that just caused a chain event that poorly involved a whole bunch of drivers.
You know what's even more interesting is that looks like the 39 was able to, he hit the wall and he was going to keep going, but the 22 kept wrecking after that. Which kind of, I'm unsure what happened. I mean, he got on the outside wall and just completely lost the truck. I think he just slammed on the brakes, and that's why everyone else got involved behind him. So an early wreck starts to slow here tonight. I think Dwayne Dunn's actually going to be able to keep a fairly good position, but that truck is pretty mangled, and so are a lot of other trucks. I'm not seeing anyone being out of it right now, but it is going to be, I think, a big hindrance for a few drivers. Michael Waite, Brian Cutts, Randy Yoakum, Ricky Howell Jr. might have a blown engine. I'm looking at Bobby Terrell having maybe a little bit of damage. Those guys who came in and took AOLs themselves to stay at the start of the back, they're heroes now because they are no longer, they saw this coming.
Yeah, absolutely. As again, you can choose to stay back there and then choose. Again, stay back there and avoid wrecks or be involved in wrecks. Thankfully, that happened in about beginning pack, and it just worked out to their advantage as they had enough time to react and avoid that on lap number 2. Again, you saw him just send it into the back of that car, and it's going to be hard to find out people's braking points, and you got to adjust to that as well. You can't just plow it into the back of them and send them into the wall, as you just saw right there.
Laps of green flag competition have already been away, and we've spent a little bit more than a few laps under the caution flag. So currently we spend more time under caution, but I know that's going to change as the night goes on. One way or another, we're going to get green flag racing. Either after this flag is lifted, they'll keep going, or they'll have incidents, which takes a lot of trucks out. I don't expect it to happen, like we've talked about in past. These trucks have gone to Bristol, these trucks have gone to Richmond, and got absolutely clean. I think this is just a different venue than these guys are used to, and I think that is going to be a big part of what's going on tonight, as we will continue to see how it develops throughout the night. It does look like Ricky Howell Jr. is now 2 laps down behind the pit wall and might be done for the night. James Nunn and Joshua Banks did not actually get out on the track today, so those are 2 less drivers that'll be out there tonight. Christian Peterson, though, He's going to lead the charge once again on this restart, first restart of the night, and he is going way early. Gets himself a great start right in front of the number 88 and number 3, and this might be what they need to get a little bit spread out here as they're going side by side, going to turn number 1 behind him.
That was a fantastic restart by Christian Peterson, and that's always going to help you on a short track. You know, just great restarts and getting out in front of that guy and edging him out. As we see a car in the wall in turns number 3 and 4. That's a 66 of Ralph van der Voorset. As he's in the wall again down the front stretch, you know, you're going to see a lot of this tonight. Again, drivers have to, everywhere they have to react to that and get out of the way as quickly as possible, and hopefully there's not another incident, a repeat incident that happened on lap 2, but now we have a 3-way battle for the lead in turns 3 and 4.
And they're starting to catch him, and look at the 88. He loses it, gets tagged by his teammate in the number 3. Amy Walker makes a mistake off turn number 4, which loses him the lead and gets damage for himself and his teammate right there. Not what you want to see if you're either one of those drivers, and this shows you how difficult it can be to get off of turn number 4. Yeah, I know these guys have had a lot of practice here, but even with that, this is a very flat track when you get off the transition. And look at Chris Cabot go right around it, but he's going to slide. Oh, he's going to lose it. That's going to bring up the yellow.
That was just insane. As you saw, you know, let's see what happened. You know, he just lost it coming out of turn 4, and it just didn't, he couldn't get it corrected in time and just spun himself around into the infield on the front stretch.
Yeah, I don't even know if he got any help from the 88. The thing is, though, I think that was a great move, and it looked like it was going to stick, but it looks like he may just overturn the steering wheel, or just, I don't know, maybe got on the throttle a little too early to try and execute the pass. Nonetheless, he still saved it. He might have, I don't think he has any damage off of anybody, but that is going to slow us down one more time here tonight. Twice already. This is definitely something that these guys are just, it's difficult for them to master. And even those drivers up towards the front, Jamie Walker had an incident, and Aaron Bennett got into him, and you're starting to slowly figure out that this is a difficult track for these drivers to maneuver around. Chris Cabot just goes around, and I think he may stay out right now. I don't think he's going to get any damage or tires fixed, but look at all these drivers coming down pit road this time saying to themselves, all right, I need tires. This place is difficult. I'm going to make sure that I don't have an incident. And so many drivers coming down pit road, a lot of them still from damage earlier on, especially Dwayne Dunn, who definitely needs a lot of damage fixed on his truck. But a lot of these drivers getting 4 tires, they don't want what happened earlier on the race to happen again to them. They want as much grip as possible, and so that's what most of these drivers are going to do. So it looks like Jamie Walker will lead the charge off pit road, and the drivers in front of him, Chris Cabot, Jeff Ryan, Shane Hawther, Bobby Terrell, and company. Those are the drivers that are going to be right in front of these. These guys just came into pit, and it looks like a couple more are coming down. So it's a pit fiasco right now, and you've got a lot of drivers staying out.
Yeah, and you know, you saw those drivers come down in the pit road, and they might have been a little bit scared at seeing what happened to Chris Cabot. Only 11 laps in, he didn't get any help from the 88. He just spun on his own. So that might scare a few drivers into, you know, going into pits, making sure they're safe, like you were saying. But you know, again, you got to conserve. It's only 12 laps in, and this is already the second caution that we had, so we'll see how this works out for them in the long run.
There will be a point, I think, in this race where we go long green flag around and we see green flag pit stops. Currently, though, Christian Peterson has led every single lap and has not faltered at any point right now, and now he's got Aaron Bennett right behind him, who's kind of been a jack of all trades when it comes to these changes, these tracks that they go to. Basically, just about almost any track this series goes to, he has decent finishes, and he's had a lot of second place finishes in his career with the BNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series. I can't think of a guy who's got more second place and so many close shots at getting a win than him, and I think he's even got a couple so far this year. No, he's got 4 top 5s so far this season, 6 top 10s, and his average finish is 6th place, which is darn good for him. And start looking at Seth the Merchant. Of course, we know the story on him. He has actually won a lot this week in private leagues and broadcasted league. He won on Monday in the Icebreaker Series, which was a super speedway. Don't forget, he won last week's super speedway race at Talladega, too. Or not last week, 2 weeks ago, because of the holiday. And then he also won I know he's won at least 3 or 4 times, including last night in the Super Cup Series, Thursday night in a private league, and Monday night in the Icebreaker Series. So he's on an absolute roll right now, and so look for that 57 to possibly keep the history going with league races 1 in a row. But he's got to beat the 2 guys in front of him. We also got a lot of other drivers. Ralph Vandervoort is up there still. Mark McCrary. That's your top 5 right now as we are getting ready for the green flag. iRacing pace car gets ducked away under the safety of pit road. And it's a long drive from turns 3 and 4, like Irwindale and a couple other tracks. See when Christian Peterson goes. He went pretty early that last time by. He's continuing to be patient right here. He gets up to speed and he's gone. Green flag's in the air and he brings his teammate with him.
That was a great move by Seth the Merchant and Christian Peterson bypassing Aaron Bennett, moving Seth the Merchant up into 2nd place. As you see, just an absolute freight train from him on that start, as he's going to try and battle back to get that lead back, but the number 66 getting into the wall, now 3 wide. Wow, that was close. The number 66 of Ralph Vandervoort.
Oh, it's not done yet.
Contact, 33 around, and the number 14 involved as well.
Oh, that happened all because he got in the wall, and then they went 3 wide right under them, trying to get something done right here. That's not something you can really expect. And I think the 88 got really loose and kept going up the track, ran right into 66. The 14 was just a bystander right there and hits the inside wall just a little bit. He doesn't hit it very hard, but just enough to get a little bit of damage. But the 14, the 33 truck, they're going to have a lot of damage right here on this lap 16. 3 cautions already so far here at the Lucas Oil Speedway. A lot of action, definitely. Not a lot of green flag action, but we're definitely seeing a lot of the development throughout the field. And at this rate, they're going to have a lot of crushed up cars. So Ralph Vandervoort is going to bring his truck to pit road. It looks like it might be crabbing a little bit. Nah, not a little bit. It's a lot of bit. So he might be done for the night. His tires are actually continuing to scuff. Just keep going on pit road. So I think there's a little bit of discussion that's also about the last restart as well. When I looked at it, it looked like it was a little bit I think Christian Peterson got up to speed a little bit quicker than maybe the 3 was expecting, but there's a little bit of conversation, but I think it's all resolved at this point. But definitely we'll have to keep our eyes on the next couple restarts.
Yeah, always got to be careful with those restarts. Can't go too early, and if you go too late, it could be trouble for you with the flagman throwing the green flag instead of you commanding it. So that's always going to be a challenge for the leader with this many restarts, as we've only had about maybe 4 or 5 green flag run laps total in this race. The rest are under caution, but these guys are going to have to buckle down and get some green flag runs under their belts, because it's 200 laps, and they're not going to finish anytime soon with this. So we're going to have to see how they adjust. Again, this is definitely a difficult track, as we're seeing. It's a different one, and you can see how troubling it is for these drivers, the best of the best in this business, and they're having a little bit of trouble with it. But it's to be expected with some wrenches thrown in the season.
Drivers who have had issues in our laps down are just behind the 8 ball right now. Bobby Terrell, of course, just was in that accident. I think Scott Simley, he has come down pit road. He's going to get some damage fixed and some tires and fuel in that truck. Then you've got Keith Budd a lap down. Ralph Vandervoort, he's probably done for the rest of the night unless he can get that axle fixed, which I don't know if you can get a new axle in iRacing. Brian Cutts is a couple laps down. Matt Maher is multiple laps down, and so is Ricky Howell Jr. and Joshua Banks, who has come onto the field. I don't know if Joshua Banks is actually injured. I just think he's he caught onto the track a little bit late and is just kind of riding around, having a little bit of fun. As a lot of these drivers will sometimes do, just kind of ride around and just enjoy being out there on the racetrack, as many do. There's still drivers coming down pit road getting tires and service, which is not a surprise to me. Something that I think I'll always expect is some drivers to come down every single time just to get those tires, just to make sure that they don't have an ill-handling race car when they go out there. But something I am noticing is that those first few drivers, Peterson, Merchant, Bennett, McCrary, Gibson, Dustin Hall, Walker's the first driver, I think, to come off pit road a couple of cautions ago, so he has the freshest tires of anybody out there. But everyone in front of him is still on their old tires, so look at the 88 to maybe start carving the way through up through the field. We don't know how the passing game is yet. Haven't had a long enough green flag run to really test that.
Yeah, and you're talking about tires again, flat track basically, and they eat tires up very quickly. It's it's very interesting to see all these drivers up front not take tires, but then again, we haven't been running really green flag runs, so we'll see how that works out for them and the number 88.
Rounding turn number 3 and 4, DeMerchant and teammate Seth DeMerchant. Peterson and DeMerchant are on the front row, but Peterson is in first place. He gets to say when the restart goes, and they go together. So green flag is in the air on lap number 23 is what they go. They get through the turns nice and cleanly. Look at McCrary on the outside. He looks like to have a good advantage right here. He might get the position over the number 3, but those first two are absolutely gone. 5 car lengths at least between them. And we'll see if these guys make it through turns 3 and 4 this time by. Looks pretty clean so far as they start to round the corner. Oh, no, we got an accident on the front straightaway. Involves the 78 or the 87 of Justin Michael and Moore are coming into the picture. Oh, Moore wrecking 83 or 93 is up and rolling over. This is not good for these guys.
And just close quarter racing again, coming off of that restart, and, you know, chaos ensued. I think once we get a little bit more spread out, a little bit more patient with these guys, we'll have some green flag runs. But always coming off of a restart at a short track, it's always interesting as you see just how quickly things can go south, as number 87 got loose, got tagged by the 80, and then just everybody behind them involved. As you know, with a short track, we talk a lot about this. It's basically like a parking lot when it comes to wrecking, and all the cars are spread out, and, you know, innocent bystanders can be involved. And you saw that with the number 83 getting end over end. He was slowing down, but just got tagged in the back, or the 93, excuse me, and got tagged in the back, and there he is flipping down the front stretch.
Yeah, I thought it was all over, and then it kept on going with 93 getting up and on his lid. I don't know if he'll actually be able to continue. That's Rich Jetty. We've said many good things about him throughout the season of starting from the back and making it towards the front. He's definitely going to have a big challenge on his hands this time, as he just got rolled over. And, you know, to be honest, he actually had gotten through that wreck pretty good. Watching it through his view, he's slowing down, waited for the wreck to develop, got the 30 out of the way, and those guys behind him were going just faster than he was. So and then the 36 driver of Joshua Banks, who was actually 13 or 17 laps down, ran right into him, which I think for the 93, that's really unfortunate to hear. But he does get back on his wheels, which I was not expecting, and he's going to continue to drive out there, I think, and continue to log laps. I don't think that car is that injured. I'm sure it's going to have some issues, but he's not going to have to worry about aerodynamics at a track like this. And really, I think it's going to be a game of survival for a lot of these drivers to get through and make it to the end of this race. And I think he is getting some tires and service right now. But right now, if this race continues the way it is, it's going to be a game of survival for anyone from Route 6th, 7th, maybe 8th on back.
Yeah, and, you know, survival, you're talking about, this is definitely going to be a survival game on this 0.69 mile track, as, you know, these guys have got to be patient. You know, you're only 27 laps inside of the race. It's silly. You know, you gotta get some laps under your belts to make it to the end. So we'll see how these guys adjust under this caution. Hopefully tires will help these guys, as you saw people go into pits. And that was a very fortunate accident for that number 93 getting up on all fours again and being able to continue. You know, we're going to see how his car is going to be handling for the rest of the night, and throughout the rest of the field as well.
What I will say is those front two are kind of untouchable at this point. They definitely have the setup, the track under their wheelhouse, under their hands. And Mark McCurry looked pretty strong on that last restart. But I bet you that Aaron Bennett tries to get it back here on this restart. With 28 laps in the books, we are 10% of the way through this race. We'll get a double file restart here once again with Christian Peterson in the first position. He's leading these guys. DeMerchant second, McCrary third, Bennett fourth, Gibson is in fifth. Then you've got Jamie Walker right there on the outside, and just about everyone fourth on back has somewhat of a little bit of damage. I don't think you can look at a single car or truck out there. Maybe the 4, Gillenwater, I don't think he's got any damage. The 11 of Hawther, I think he sent somebody into the driver earlier on, so he's got some front end damage, but I think it's only those front three that don't have any damage right now. Pace car is off and away, and the number 32 of Christian Peterson, he's on the loud pedal. We'll have another restart here on lap 29 coming to lap 30. So side by side once again from third on back, fourth on back. McCurry might actually get the position here. Yes, he does. He clears number 3, so the first 4 or 5 positions no longer up for grabs as they go side by side for 5th position. Looks like it'd be number 7 of Cody Gibson continuing to try. Looks like a car is in the wall back. There's the 11. No caution is coming out right now. Looks like they all slow down and they make it safely across the start-finish line for this first lap. I think the big thing is if they're going to be able to make it for a few laps. Looks like we got a car a little bit sideways there. And then the 7, he saves it nicely. That was Cody Gibson.
Yeah, a lot of great saves, and we're finally starting to get into a rhythm. We'll spread out, so all you have to do is keep your car to control, and we'll be ready for some green flag racing, and that's what we're seeing right now, finally picking up. As you see, after a slow start, Christian Peterson in the lead, as you see closely behind the teammate, Seth the Merchant, then Mark McCurry and Aaron Bennett, and then Jamie Walker, all in that top 5, fighting for that lead as we're single filed out now throughout the top 10. We see a change for the position right here. Number 31 getting passed by that number 3 of Aaron Bennett. It's caution out on the track.
I'm not exactly sure where it is, to be honest. I'm looking around, and I don't see it. Might be the 98 of Stephen Herring. I'll have to see exactly what happened. Looks like got tagged by the 33. The 33 has been in almost every accident. Man, whoever came into that late, I don't think used their brakes at all because they ran right into 33. That might have been Randy Yoakum, who just absolutely plowed into him. And so that's going to bring us out to another caution here on lap number 33. I think it's just one of those... it's not the guys up front. It's not like the guys up front are wrecking for position. It's those guys towards the back that I'm unsure if they just don't have the handling under the setup. Nonetheless, there's a lot of drivers coming down pit road, and I think all of our leaders are coming down pit road except for the number 3 and the number 88. So we're going to have pit stops right here.
Yeah, coming down the number 57, Seth the Merchant, right side's up and dropping. Let's see if left sides go up as well. Left sides will go up. So 4 tires and fuel for him, and we'll see where he shuffles out coming out of pit road. You know, that was just another accident that we saw with that first time around, and let's see how Christian Peterson will come out in front of number 57 again. That was a similar accident to what we saw in that first caution, and you know, it happens. You know, you gotta be able to brake in time for that. For the turn and adjust to other people's braking periods.
Well, at this moment, we'll take a short moment to step aside while we're under caution. We'll be right back here on LSRTV, your home for sim racing. Welcome back to the Lucas Oil Raceway, where these guys are going back to green here shortly. Aaron Bennett currently will hold the lead with Jamie Walker right in tow. Jeff Ryan, he sits in the 3rd position with Christian Peterson and Seth Merchant in 4th and 5th. Around turn 3 and 4 right here. Aaron Bennett will get these guys green flag racing. Here they go. A great start by the number 3 machine, and a little bit of slow start on the inside line with the number 10, 3 wide here. The Merchant goes to the very bottom of the track. They're still 3 wide. Looks like that truck is going to make the pass on the 31. Going to try and keep making the pass on the 10 right here. He's got the new tires, but Jeff Ryan able to hold him off right now. And Ryan goes way up the track, but he's going to come right back down. And he's going to still side by side for that 4th position. Looks like we have a little bit of an accident going into turn number 1 once again. Oh, guys are still piling in. The 80 just slams into number 2 after he already wrecked, so definitely frustrations are starting to build up here. We'll definitely have to take a look at what happened here.
It appeared to be that the 20 just came up, lost it a little bit, came up, and just bumped that 80, and again, just another wreck on the front stretch, and drivers being patient. We'll see, as you do see some tempers flaring with the 80 and the number 2, so we'll see how that progresses throughout the night. But meanwhile, up front, you still got Aaron Bennett in the lead, and followed quickly behind Jamie Walker.
Well, here's a small issue. I'm just unsure about. It looked like it was not intentional. I'm starting to look at the replays again. Looked like the 88 had come back down to hit the 2, and if he didn't, you know, the wreck would happen. But it looked like he was just completely out of control whenever the 2 hit him. But when the 80 came back to hit him again, I think the 2 knew that definitely was his fault there in the encounter. But the 80 definitely was not happy and gave him a good bump after the wreck was already over. I think a lot of drivers know that they're getting close to the 1/4 point of this race, and quite honestly, they're not satisfied with the way it's been going. But nonetheless, the race still goes on, and a lot of these trucks are beat up. But at the same time, they're not. A lot of these wrecks are not fatal. You know, they get to keep going. They get to keep racing, and so in the grand scheme of things, when you do get involved in an accident like that, I think you want to try and keep your car as clean as possible. Which Aaron Bennett, with his front end damage, you would think that at any other track that these guys go to, he'd be in a bit of a pickle, you know, at the fact that he's got some serious damage on the front end. But he's still going. He's still in the 1st place position, keeps his nose clean in the metaphorical way. Just kind of had an incident with his teammate, but other than that, he's been nice, clean. Got the lead on a pit stop now. I don't think he's actually come down to pit road yet. It's surfaced, so I think that is definitely why he's got that lead. But Christian Peterson is right behind him. Seth the Merchant did get that position from the 31 earlier on, so they're 2nd and 3rd, and they've been just absolute powerhouses right now. I think either one of them is the favorite to win at this point in the race.
Yeah, as you were talking, you know, thankfully this track does not need aerodynamics, because you know, it's a short track, so you just got to put that pedal in the metal, got to get the braking right, and then send it into the corner as good as you can. And you know, damage isn't really that much of a factor if you have something like what Aaron Bennett has. Now, if you had something like what the 93 had when he was rolling, it might come into play a little bit. But you see Rich Jetty still on the lead lap after that roll, currently in 20th position. So we'll see how it fares into the next few laps.
Yeah, Rich Jetty, if this race continues to go the way it is, he might still benefit off of just kind of a lot of other people's misfortune. And realistically, he was doing everything he could on that caution, just kind of, you know, get out of the way, be where he needs to be, waited for the wreck to develop and get out of the way, but still got hit from guys from behind who were not able to, or just did not slow down in time for the incident. But nonetheless, going back to green flag racing, and that's the 33 in the bottom, and the Budweiser truck, he's gonna let all these drivers go by. He looks like he tried to come out of pit road in front of these drivers, just was not able to do that, and so he'll go to the tail end of the field. Aaron Bennett, he'll start these guys on this restart once more. He'll have Christian Peterson, Seth the Merchant, McCrary, and Gillenwater. Gillenwater has one of the cleanest trucks out there with the 57, 31, and 32, as they just happen to be in the top 5 there together. So we'll have a restart here, and we'll see how these guys fare this time around. Cross your fingers, you get a long green flag run here. Aaron Bennett gets going on the loud pedal, and he gets pretty far away from those two behind him. Green flag in the air as we're almost to the 1/4 point.
Coming into turn number 1, Aaron Bennett, good to go. 57 and 32 teammates battling it out, coming into the back stretch. As you see, drivers coming down in turn 3. Everything looking so good so far, so good. Yeah, as we are gonna complete 1 lap under green flag conditions, as we're getting single filed out a little bit more. As you see, the only real battle that is left, oh, the 48 is into the wall, but he's gonna keep it straight. That's Michael Waite. 39 of Dwayne Dunn's gonna have to adjust to get around him with a bit of a damaged race car, but so far that's the most drastic thing that we've seen. And we're getting ready to go some green flag racing past the 1/4 mark.
One step at a time. I think may get some longer green flag runs here, but right now I'm just kind of holding off on the hoping. I'm just hoping we at least get, let's get to the 10 lap marker, and then we can get a little bit further. But yeah, the 9 car of Michael Warren, he's coming up through the field right now. He looks like he's going to try and get some cars right here, but it looks like he's actually slowing down quite a bit. He's got some guys on his outside, but that's battle for position. The 12 behind him, Greg Mall, he looks like he has a pretty clean truck, as he was somebody who really made an appearance in his first race a few weeks ago at, I think that was, I can't remember what track it was. It was Texas. Made a really good appearance, so he just passed Michael Warren. There's a bit of trouble right in front of him. Looks like he's going to try and get around it. Let's see if Steve Price Jr. and Chris Cabot, they're having a little bit of tussle right there on turn number 3 and 4. He's going to try and take advantage of both of them right here.
Here they go into the turn, as you see. Just a little bit, as you see the 78 look into that that middle lane between the 12 and the number 5. Chris Cabot really slow going into turn 3. 78 nearly got into the back of him, as we are watching it now. Number 12 got around him, so we'll see how that 78 works around him as well. Bumping into him again going into the turn, so we'll see.
Battle for the lead starting to heat up. Christian Peterson looking to the inside here in turn number 4, trying to get the pass executed right here. Old tires are not good here at a track that you've got the high side as the momentum builder, but new tires can still get around them. So Peterson trying the very bottom of the track, shows you the difference between the tires, and he almost gets into them. Is able to not make an incident right there of it, and is going to continue to try and pass on the bottom side. The only bad thing about what Peterson's doing is he's really using up his tires quite a bit and allowing Seth the Merchant to get right there in the picture. But looks like the Merchant's going to try and sneak up in front of him. He's able to get the job done. Slides right in front. New leader, Christian Peterson. Oh, yellow flag is going to be out. And I heard it. Don't see it. I'll have to find out. I find that these wrecks start to clean themselves fairly quickly, but I'm hearing the 78 of Steve Price Jr. I guess he already had towed, but he actually looked. We had said that he was going to have an incident possibly with the 5, but it looks like he gets up into turns 3 and 4 and I think he just loses it on his own out of turn number 4.
Yeah, and again, you know, you were talking earlier with Christian Peterson using them tires up, trying to pass number 3. You know, you can do that as well back in the back of the pack, and that's most likely what happened. You know, you got bad tires and you just try to throw it in there, try to get around someone, or you have a messed up race car, and you know, you just send yourself around. So we're seeing another caution on lap number 54.
Christian Peterson's one of the only drivers not come down pit road this time, so quite an interesting strategy, and I think George Hendricks was thinking the same thing. So those two drivers, they're going to try some strategy, and it looks like Bobby Terrell is going to take a wave around this time by a much-needed one for him. And then you've got Matt Mara, who's a lap down, and it looks like everyone behind him is a lap down. So Jamie Walker is going to be one of the first drivers to come off pit road. And then you've got Aaron Bennett. I think that's his first time coming down pit road on lap 55 to make service on that truck. So this was a longer green flag run. I think we're making some progress here.
Yeah, we are definitely making some progress, as you know, 22 laps, or 22 cars are on the lead lap tonight, right now, as of now. That'll be the last car of Michael Warren. Then we have Steve Price Jr. 1 lap down. So, you know, less cars than what we started with, as we see Brian Cutts, Joshua Banks, and Steve Price Jr. all pull their cars behind the wall. So we're starting to dwindle down to cars that, you know, would be a little manageable at this track. You know, of course, you know, you don't really see this as much as real life at all, actually. So, you know, it's definitely a different different take on Lucas Oil Raceway and the truck series.
Yeah, and to all the viewers out on the streams tonight, I will let you know that this is one of the cleanest series that we typically cover. This is definitely an anomaly that has come through, and I think a wrench that was thrown for these guys when it came to Lucas Oil. This is the first time they've ever come here. And I think that when you throw a wrench to these guys who are actually extremely used to the tracks that they normally go to, I think that's kind of a product. But you know, still some great racing, especially up towards the front. That was a really good battle for the lead that we had with the 3 and the 32, and I think we'll see probably another one, especially with the fact that Peterson is on old tires. But to kind of explain, I think I saw it looks like Lisa Cumbes, she was saying that everyone's wrecking in the straightaways, and that's because when they come off that 14-degree banking on the in the corners and go to a flat straightaway, it's such a harsh transition from that high up the banking, and a lot of drivers are cutting it and not smoothly transitioning, and so that really upsets the rear end of the truck, and that's why a lot of these trucks are getting really out of shape. Even guys like Jamie Walker have clearly had an issue with that, but they are starting to get a little bit more of a hang with it as these laps go on. Lights on the pace car are out, so we will get a 1 to go this time by here in 1 and 2.
Yeah, you know, it's as you were saying, you know, coming off of that banking and onto the straightaway, you know, it's hard, and it's easy to get the car upset and into the wall. So we'll see how these guys take it through these next couple laps, as we're going to be restarting on lap 59.
Coming through 3 and 4, pace cars off and away, and Christian Peterson, Jamie Walker, that's your front row. They will lead the 22 cars out here to the green flag. He gets a great run, and looks like the 88 is clear as well going into turn 1. Side by side they go. Looks like we're clean so far through 1 and 2. This is the diciest part of the run. It's just the very beginning. Just these first couple laps as they go side by side for 3rd place. Really looking to see these guys get straight and single filed out, and they are so far. Aaron Bennett on the very bottom of the track. He does not have the ability to cut right in front of the number 57 of Seth DeMerchant until right about now. DeMerchant almost gets into the wall right there. Is actually going to try a crossover on the number 3 right here. Looks at the 7 once again, almost gets out of shape. He's going to lose a few positions right here, but Merchant almost tried a crossover move, went way high in the corner, went way down in turn number 3, and he's the only guy really going to the very bottom of the track. Definitely noticing that he's kind of the only guy to really venture down there.
Yeah, 57 of Seth DeMerchant using every single inch of that track in the turn, and you know it could work out to his advantage. As you see the number 88, Jamie Walker, challenging Christian Peterson for the lead. So we'll see how that works out for him. You know, again, taking that bottom line earlier may have been wearing out his tires. So we'll see how Jamie Walker fights against him, and that number 3 could come into the mix with all that battling that's going on, and the 57 just lurking behind, looking for. Away as you see now, Jamie Walker side by side with the number 32, Christian Peterson, into turn 3 and 4, door to door into coming out of 4 right now. As you see now, Jamie Walker edging him out a little bit. He couldn't get the pass done sideways into Christian Peterson. They're able to keep it straight. Cleanest drivers out there, and they know how to handle that stuff. So we'll see how the number 32 reacts to that later on in the race as well. You know, that might have not been a good thing for him, but Aaron Bennett to the lead as we have a caution out on the track.
I can't believe he saved that, but at the same time, it wasn't. He wasn't trying to just get in front of him. It was just the fact that he, I think he just lost that handling on the truck. We've seen him do that twice now, and good thing for him was he was able to really hold on to it. I don't know what the caution is for. Once again, I'm trying to find out what these issues are here on the speedway, but right now it's just. It wasn't even for that last incident. I'm just really unsure, but maybe it's the 34 of Hendricks who is on pit road, but I'm not sure. I don't see a clear issue for the caution, so I don't think we're gonna get a replay of exactly what happened. But nonetheless, we are on to caution once again on lap 64, and these guys are going to once again see those see the bright lights of the pace car.
Yeah, as you see, just car into the wall, bringing out the caution, and this is our, what, 6th caution, 65 laps. So we're about averaging a caution every 10 laps. So we'll see how this works out for them in the long run. You see Christian Peterson coming down pit lane, getting the service. Aaron Bennett's still out in the lead after what happened earlier, as Jamie Walker's still there too. So it's going to be definitely a fight to the finish, as you know, these guys are going to have to sit back, relax, breathe a little bit, and get some laps under their belt. It's going to be interesting.
So I saw exactly what we saw on the stream, and I was watching it with everyone at home because I have YouTube on my left screen, and just to see, you know, the replays from Cisco's point of view. And well, I don't know what happened, guys. Just to be 100% honest, I couldn't see it on my end. I just wasn't even there. So looking at the stream and seeing what happened, it makes sense why there's a caution. But I think that's quite the characteristic of this race, is even when everyone, it seems to be kind of running right, running straight, something really, really odd happened. So I can't explain that one. It's just I don't know what to say. This is it's very different. But going back to the on-track accident between Peterson and the 88, I definitely don't think Peterson will come back and get at him or anything. I think he's got his damage fixed, and Peterson will probably come up through the field, knowing how talented he is in these in any car that he's racing in this series. But I think the 88 will have to probably he doesn't have to, but I think he'll probably let him over later on the race, just knowing that he would have no damage without that move. And I don't think the 88 really meant to do that on purpose. He was just trying to go in front of him, get the lead, and went from the low line to the high line, just collected him.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's hard to keep these cars under control in the turn. And you know, it's easy to spin these cars out when you get on the throttle a little bit too hard. But here we are, double file, as you know, Austin, I think we have a full moon out tonight.
Isn't that weird moon supposed to come out tonight, and you can see it really nice in Chicago? Well, it's here in Indianapolis instead, which it really isn't that far away. I can't remember what the moon is, but it's here at this speedway in the virtual world as well. I hope it starts to get cloudy soon. So I will we'll start talking about bad omens and hope for the good here in this series, as they are going to get green once more. Pace car once again away. Aaron Bennett will get another restart to him. Starting this one, he'll take a teammate behind him, and he gets off way ahead of everybody else, right in front of Seth the Merchant. Seth the Merchant gets clear of the guys behind him, and it's another battle for third place. And I think Mark Carrera has such good speed on these restarts, hasn't been able to get to the very, very front so far yet. But those first two cars have a really, really good jump over the rest of the field as they go single file here in the first top 5 positions.
Coming to turn number 1, the 32 of Christian Peterson went down below and went 3 wide with the number 68 of Scott Simley, and 93 of Rich Jetty, who flipped over early, if you remember. But they were able to keep it clean. That was fantastic racing to see how that battle shaped out, as now that 32 and now sliding in front of the number 93, working now on Scott Simley, and then trying to get back up to the front where he was. So we'll see how that works out for him, as we see that truck just powerhousing through the field right now, as you see that number 57 also leading the pack into the wall a little bit coming out of turn number 2. That could play good to Aaron Bennett in that number 3 car. As you see, he's just pedaling all the way through and out the corner coming into lap 72.
And we had a battle for the lead, which had just finished up a couple laps ago. Christian Peterson gets Seth the Merchant gets the lead, but we'll have another caution here. Well, it looks like the number 30 of Lewis Robinette. We have a car up and over the 48 machine. Replay here shortly of what's going on with those guys, and looks like the 48 right in front of them. Not sure exactly what started this all. I think I'll give it to you if you've got a replay of it. I don't have one right now.
The 68 of Michael Wade just got a little bit sideways coming out of turn number 4 and spun into the outside wall, got in front of the number 2, Michael Atkins Jr., and just plowed into him, flipped him over. Wasn't as fortunate as Rich Jetty, and that number 2 has got a blown engine, it appears. So we'll see how that works out for him, as well as another caution on lap number 72 coming down into pit road.
Yeah, I think these guys, the guys behind him, I thought it was Lewis Robinette because he was completely stopped, but he had run into Chris Gabot, who is slowing down for the accident, and the caution was definitely flying at that point. I think we start to see these guys wrecking after the fact. I think wreck awareness has got to be something that the race officials start to look at after this race. They've done such a good job of it so far this season and in the past seasons that yeah, the wreck and the caution is still out, but a lot of these guys could really save the trucks if they don't run into each other after the caution's already displayed. So in doing so, they'll have to come down pit road and get those fixed, which a lot of drivers are doing right now. And like I said earlier, this is looking to be one of those races that that is a survival of the fittest. I don't think any of these drivers want to be in the position they're in, but a lot of them are kind of stuck. They've got to come down pit road. They've got to get all that damage fixed, and some of them weren't even a part of the initial wreck. Chris Cabot has quite a bit of rear end damage, and he had, he and almost everyone else has been in some sort of issue this race. I think the only two people is Mark McCrary and the number 31 DeMerchant and the number 57. I don't think they've had any issues so far this race. They've been the two lucky ones, and I said Peterson earlier, and yeah, I had to mark him off the list. So I think it's just down to those two drivers, which are not at the very front, but I think they'll get their way up there. But Peterson in second place after pit stops right now, and we'll see him try and go for the lead once again on the number 3.
Yeah, that was a great run that he had off of that restart 3-wide battle into turn number 1. You got to make moves, and you got to be confident with yourself to enable to do those. As now you see, he went from pretty far back to now to the back bumper of the number 3. So we'll see him go for a position. So we'll see how this works out.
We're crossing the 75 lap marker here, just a couple laps ago. At this point in the race, we would like to give a big shout out to our friends at Joel Real Timing. Coverage of the United Sim Racing B and C Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series is brought to you by Joel Real Timing, the official timing software of LSRTV. Whether you spend your time on the sim behind the wheel, on the pit box, or from the spotter stand, JRT is the go-to software for iRacing timing and scoring analytics. You can get yourself a basic download or get the pro version today at joel-real-timing.com. And they definitely help out with the fuel strategies, which sadly has not come into play for these guys quite yet, but has in the past for these guys. And I think we might get a long green flag run. Statistically, it doesn't look like it. I think we'll at least get some longer green flag runs as the race goes on. Pace car down and away in the long trek to turn number 4 is awaiting these guys as the green flag will fly here as these guys get into the restart zone. Aaron Bennett handling a very close 50 miles an hour, and he will get on the loud pedal, and he will get a great start over Christian Peterson. Green flag off and away once again.
Yeah, and Aaron Bennett, good jump, but at 32 is going to battle back on the outside. You see almost 3 wide behind them with number 39, 68, and nearly set the Merchant. But sideways as the number 31 slams into the outside wall, slowing down for sure to bring out a caution quite possibly. And no, wow, that was fantastic. And that didn't bring out a caution as we see a battle for the race lead now. Battling up as you see this Christian Peterson coming out.
Well, I checked mark the 31 off my list now, and looks like we're gonna. Oh my gosh, big wreck out of turn number 2 here. I think some drivers are still having issues, but this is definitely one of the bigger wrecks that we've had so far tonight. Just looks like contact with the number 7 and whoever was behind him, the number 37. Those two got the contact here. Looks like the 37 goes down the track and simply just gets into him and sends him around, and no one behind him could do anything about it. Big issues for a lot of drivers, and then everyone behind him just kind of stacked up. I mean, some of these drivers have been in 3 or 4 accidents so far this night, and then the number 2 just is. Some of these drivers just don't care how they get out of the wreck. I'm watching them get out of the wreck, get back to pace, and they're just slamming each other. I think a lot of them are just kind of giving up hope for this race. The fact that some of them are still a lap down, they know if they continue to have accidents, they're not going to make it back in the lead lap. And I know those guys up front are really itching to get some long green flag runs, but I think race control's got to kind of get into play here and say, basically, if you cause a wreck at this point, you're out, just because the guys really want some long green flag runs. We're not even halfway down with the race yet. I hate to be pessimistic about things, but these guys really want to get going, and we want to see some good green flag action here. But nonetheless, it's the race it is. It's been quite the uncharacteristic night for these guys. These guys do such a good job on a typical week-to-week basis, and currently, I think the good thing for it is that we still have plenty of cars out towards the front, which are still in good shape. We still have Aaron Bennett, Christian Peterson. Look at Scott Simley. Like, where the heck did he come from? He's in 3rd place right now. Then you've got Dwayne Dunn, Seth the Merchant, back up there as well. Dwayne Dunn literally destroyed his truck earlier. He's back in it. So, for anybody who's in this race, you're definitely not out of it.
Yeah, especially for Stephen Haring starting 33rd, now 11th, and Rich Jetty, you saw him go end over end earlier, and he's in the top 10. So that's something exciting for Rich Jetty. We'll see how he comes out. Maybe he could even win this thing. That'd be a storybook ending. So we'll see how the rest of this track or race goes, rather. As you know, definitely, you know, some drivers will want to get some green flag runs under their belts, but you know, the way this is going, now we only have 14 drivers on the lead lap, so we'll see how this is going. And I do believe that that race control should be able to step in and say, hey, look, we need to calm things down, or else we're gonna need to get some drivers out of here.
Yeah, and at this point, we have only 14 drivers on the lead lap, and that might switch if Mark McCurry can get back out there. And I had to check off Mark McCurry on my list of people out there that don't have damage. I think Peterson's literally the only driver out there that does have damage out there. And I'll look through all the trucks here as we go. Looks like Aaron Bennett had that issue earlier, so his front nose is pretty crinkled in. Then we look at, of course, Peterson had that issue with the 88. I don't know what happened to Simley. He's pretty beat up. We saw what happened to Dwayne Dunn, just pancake the wall. DeMerchant, that's your top 5. He looks pristine and clean. Will he be able to do that the whole race? I don't know, but if he knows he's got the cleanest truck, I'll just tell him, if I was your crew chief, or if I was his crew chief, I'd just be like, you know what, just take it easy. Everyone around you's pretty beat up. By the end of the race, 20 laps to go, put on the wick, and you might be able to win this race. Race car down and away. Aaron Bennett will once again get these guys to another restart. Being closer to halfway, about 16 laps to go to the halfway point as these guys round turns 3 and 4. Aaron Bennett, oh, they're wrecking under caution. Not sure exactly what's going on there, but they're going to be slow to start. Nonetheless, looks like these guys up front ready to go, ready to race. Looks like the Merchant's putting the bumper to the 68 throughout the corner and absolutely gave him such a good hit. Did not get a lot of speed from it. Top 5 starting to form up, still 2 by 2 for 3rd.
Yeah, you saw number 57 Seth the Merchant very eager to get under green flag racing conditions. You can see just the guys itching to get back under green, as you know, it's very hard for these guys. The 88 diving below the number 39, 57 boxed in a little bit to the top. So we'll see how this works out for him. As you see now, 57 diving down below the number 88. 3 wide on the backstretch. How is this going to work out? Seth the Merchant all the way down to the bottom, a little bit of loose, but he is able to keep it under control. Fantastic wheel work by the number 57, and fantastic wheel work by the number 88, Jamie Walker, and number 39 of Dwayne Dunn. Oh, 57.
Put him in the wall.
Oh my gosh, this is getting exciting.
Merchant's kind of run out of cares to give at this point. He kind of gave him the rear end of his car, get into the to kind of shove him and get him out of the way. He wanted to get around him pretty quickly, and he's got the most pristine car. I mean, even if he does get a little damage, I don't think it's a big deal for the 57 at this point. And he's got a hot streak to kind of back up right now. 13 cars on the lead lap right now, and only one of those cars in the lead lap is looking pristine, but still those cars up front still look pretty good. You know, still look really racy. Christian Peterson really doesn't look that damaged in all reality. And the number 3 in the very front, he's still carving away at this one. So he's doing a pretty good job of just keeping the lead, keeping his car in good condition. Really what these guys are probably doing is waiting until pit stops happen or until the next caution. I think it's probably the most realistic thing that these guys are thinking of. Just, you know, they're clicking off laps. We get about 5 or 6 more laps left. That'll actually be the longest green flag run these guys will have throughout this race, which is pretty surprising, especially with these guys, you know, how quick they are. But Bennett and Peterson are over a second ahead of their competition. I think that shows you how strong they are tonight.
Yeah, these guys are fantastic. You know, pulling a gap almost a second long. Actually, it is a second long. And, you know, just see them wheel work as you see Seth the Merchant still behind the number 88. And let's not try to jinx it here, Austin. Let's not talk about that C word. So let's just be positive and say the stuff about this green flag run that we are seeing. We saw some great battles, and now we're seeing some great battles between number 32 Christian Peterson and number 3 of Aaron Bennett. You see Christian Peterson going down to a different lane, trying to get past that number 3 car, but didn't have enough speed to do it, as you're going to see him line him up again to the corner. So we'll see how this works out for the rest of this race.
And with these longer green flag runs, we're going to see that top side start to get really rubbered in, which could lead to that middle lane to be of really good use. And I think that's what Peterson's really banking on. I know the 57 of DeMerchant and a couple other drivers, they really like that middle line more than the very top. They want to be able to pass here. So DeMerchant or Peterson's going to the very bottom. He's going to go square with him on the left side of his truck. He's going to go to the very bottom of the track. He's going to go for the slide job. Doesn't have to actually slide up in front of him. He gets the job executed. New leader Christian Peterson at the last time. Well, this time going through 1 and 2 right there, and I think he cleanly gets the position. I think also Bennett didn't really want to make that much of a fuss. He's still got second place right now, but Peterson's going to lead this one.
That was a picture-perfect slide job by Christian Peterson on that number 3 of Aaron Bennett. As you see now, he's pulling a little bit of a gap, his 0.26 gap now on him. So we'll see what the better car is, and you know, number 3 is trying to put it in there as much as he can, you know, for a short track and not wanting to lose it. So you see just this pass, and it was just a fantastic slide job from point A to point B in these turns. And you know, that you see this now, and he's pulling away. He's still opening up that gap a little bit at a time. And you know, we're getting a good green flag run going. As you see Seth the Merchant now to the bottom of the number 68 of Scott Simley. We'll see if he can pull out a slide job or something else to happen. As you see now, he's down to the bottom of the track. You know, these are the only 2 guys that you see right in that bottom of the track, so they are very confident in themselves that they are able to keep it straight. As now we're getting a good green flag run.
Not only are they confident, but they're also very comfortable with what they've got. They're running the track a lot differently than everyone else. I think they've really kind of figured out what they need to do. As DeMerchant went from around, I think, 6th or 7th place to 3rd right now, and I think they're able to go to the bottom because they just feel comfortable. Oh, it looks like the 88 just smacked the wall right there on the back straightaway. So he's gonna have a little bit of damage. But this track runs a lot like a dirt track, and the fact that you've kind of got to go in the corner and kind of pitch the car just like you would on a dirt track. Hitting the wall has been something that we've seen. Using the right rear to kind of position yourself, maybe get in the corner a little hot, use the wall to lean on. But it's definitely produced a lot of dramatic moments so far in this race of having a lot of accidents. But like you said, longest run so far in this race. Cross flags will be the next time by. Means we are halfway, but that battle for the lead is not completely over. Aaron Bennett did try and make a swipe at him this time, but we will be at the halfway mark this time. Kind of nice to see this long green flag run, knowing that these guys are capable of doing it, and some really good flag to flag racing that's happening, and some passes have happened under the green flag conditions here.
Yeah, coming up now on lap traffic, number 32 of Christian Peterson coming up on that number 80 machine. So we'll see how lap traffic fares here. We have yet to see lap traffic here at Lucas Oil Raceway, so we'll see how these drivers do as Michael Atkins Jr. pulls behind the wall, and you know, fantastic stuff.
At this point in the race, we crossed the halfway point, lap 100, and we'll take a look at your iRacing Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing, the leading online racing simulation that is. Developed from the beginning as a centralized racing and competition service, iRacing organizes, hosts, and officiates races on virtual tracks all around the world. In the fast-paced world of esports, iRacing is a one-stop shop for online racing, with officially sanctioned racing from NASCAR, Indy, IMSA, World of Outlaws, and more. Christian Peterson currently leads the way. He got the pole. He went back, got a little injured, has come back to the front. Aaron Bennett is in 2nd right now. Seth the Merchant 3rd. Scott Simley is in the 4th position with Jamie Walker in 5th, Dustin Hall 6th. Rich Jetty, after flipping his car over, is in the top 10 in 7th place. Dwayne Dunn, equally damaged as the 93, is in 8th position. Jeff Ryan is having a good day in 9th place, and Stephen Herring is in 10th.
11th will be Michael Warren. 12th, Chris Cabot. We saw some incidents with him earlier. Robert Gillenwater, 13th. That is your last car in the lead lap. From now on, these drivers are lapped down. Shane Hawthorne, 14th. Mark McCary, 15th. Bobby Terrell, 16th. Scott Formosa, 17th. Greg Mall, 18th. Michael Waite, 19th. And Keith Butt will round out your top 20.
Just about everyone behind the 20th place position is basically out of this race. 21st, Matt Mara. Michael Atkins Jr. in the number 2 machine has had multiple incidents. He's, I think, put it behind the wall. He's 22 laps down. Cody Gibson, 23rd. Randy Yoakum is in the 24th position. Lewis Robinette, 25th. George Hendricks, 26th. Stephen Price Jr. in the 27th position. Joshua Banks, 28th. Ryan Cutts is in 29th. Justin Michael ends his day early. Not a good points day for him in 30th. And you've got Ralph Vander Vorst. He is in the 31st position with Ricky Howell Jr. in 32nd. So that's been a look at your iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities, visit iRacing.com to sign up today. For a limited time, which is not for very long, you can now visit iRacing.com/World of Outlaws to take advantage of some exclusive promo codes and get yourself on iRacing with a 1-year membership for half off, or simply try it for 3 months membership for less than $5. Again, that's racing.com/World of Outlaws. Remember, that's only for new members. All of us old-time subscription guys will have to pay the regular price after Cyber Monday and Black Friday. So, back to the action on track. Christian Peterson and Aaron Bennett are navigating themselves through lap traffic. This is getting quite intense right here as Peterson goes to the bottom and is having double file in front of him with these lap cars. He's going to have to navigate it through them pretty efficiently, and looks like right now he's going to have the ability to do that. Go to the bottom of the number 5, and looks like the number 3 is also going in tow. It's definitely where your make or break sometimes for your lead, but looks like Aaron Bennett has really been there every step of the way here so far.
Yeah, these lap traffic cars have been slowing him down a little bit and able to have Aaron Bennett catch back up to him. So that really plays effect into Christian Peterson's race and the race of Aaron Bennett. So really working out for him well, as he's been able to keep a steady gap between them. Able to keep a striking distance, but not too close that in case something did happen, he would be able to avoid it. You know, coming over halfway point, as you see now, 11 cars on lead lap. Maybe we're looking for some pit cycles going through. We have yet to have a green flag run, so we'll be keeping an eye out for that. So we'll see how this works out for them.
So far, the distance between those two guys up front, Peterson and Bennett, who have, by the way, done a fabulous job, is 3 seconds to Seth the Merchant, 4 seconds back to Scott Simley, and 5 seconds, 4.5 seconds back to Scott Jamie Walker. Jamie Walker and Scott Simley are actually having a really good battle. I kind of mixed them up for a second, but they're having a fantastic battle for the 4th position. Looks like Jamie Walker's going to the inside of him right here, and it looks like the 68 has a little bit of a bobble, so they'll go side by side. They're going to have a lap car to deal with. How do they go around him and fight for the position at the same time? Looks like the 88's going to kind of nudge his way before him to be able to get that position right there. I think the 68 kind of just let him go, knowing that there's a long race still ahead of him. A little bit over 80 laps to go still at this track, and now they're starting to pick them off. They're starting to really pick these laps off. When you have this many cautions at a track like this, they're still short cautions, but they can start to add up as they're lap number 115.
Yeah, fantastic green flag running, as you see now. We're able to get a rhythm going, and they're just definitely clicking off laps, as you were talking about. You know, still having some battles a little bit between Rich Jetty and Dustin Hall, as you see 37 and 93 keeping a good gap between each other. You see, again, Rich Jetty moved up another position. He was end over end earlier, but yet he's able to keep this car very clean for the rest of the way. So we'll see how this works out for him in the long run. As you see Seth the Merchant still trying to reel in the number 3 of Aaron Bennett, but it's just been getting really far from him. And you see Aaron Bennett still able to keep a good gap, or excuse me, Christian Peterson able to keep a good gap between him and Aaron Bennett. So you see the two people running different lines in turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you know, it's working out differently for both of them. So we'll see how this works out. As you were talking about, you know, green flag runs, you know, it will help that top lane get rubbered in and help them out a little bit. So we'll see how this works. We're working now, lap 118.
Just watched the number 14 car on pit road, and I think he might be done for the day. Kind of slowed it down off of turn number 4, and either he had a blown motor or something happened. It's like he might be done for the day. He was sitting in 16th place, now 3 laps down, and will continue to fall by not being out there with the rest of the field. And at this current moment, we have only 10 drivers on the lead lap. That ends, I do believe, with the number 10 of, that's the number 98 of Stephen Herring. So going back to the lead right here, looks like the number 32 of Christian Peterson being challenged once again by the number 3 of Aaron Bennett. These guys have been kind of going at it all night long. They're catching lap car of the number 12, which is Greg Mall, going through 1 and 2, and he's going down to the bottom every once in a while, getting a little bit of speed every single time he gets down there. He's going to go to the left rear quarter panel, has off of it just not to spit him out, but here comes the battle for the lead.
Yeah, here they come into turns 3 and 4, coming now out of turn 4 on the front stretch. Aaron Bennett trying to get something happening with Christian Pearson, but Christian Pearson is just too good through these corners. As you know, if you look to the back of the field, you know, all these big names are out of the race. You know, Michael Atkins Jr., Bobby Terrell, Stephen Price Jr., you know, anything can happen on a short track, and we're seeing it tonight as you see more lap traffic going by. And you know, it's just a very interesting night here, and I definitely do think we have that weird move that Austin was talking about here tonight.
Yeah, I said either they're gonna get, you know, get their heads on straight, or there's gonna be too many trucks wrecked out to make the green flag run, and one of those two things happen, or maybe both. Maybe both. You know, it could be both. But I think it's the latter of the two. But nonetheless, I mean, these guys are still battling, and they're still having to deal with a lot of lap traffic or late lap traffic. If you're a lap car, if you're the 12, you've got to be recognizing that, you know, the lead behind you is happening, and you've got to get out of the way, which the 12 car does. I think does a very good gesture of just getting out of the way, which you don't have to do if you're a lap truck, but it's very nice and very encourageable to do if you are in that position. Looks like the 22, or that's the 72, I think, right in front of him. There's still 22 Matt Maher in front of Christian Peterson. Ducks out of the way at the last second, so he will do the same as the 12 right here. That battle for the lead will cease for a little bit. Looks like Peterson decided he's going to get back on the horse and start pulling away just a little bit from Aaron Bennett.
Yeah, we see you know, lap traffic starting to come into play. Well, has been coming into play, but you know, you see a bigger gap happening now. Is, you know, it's very nice for cars to jump out of the way of these drivers. As you see, still looking back in the field a little bit to 6th place, that battle between Dustin Hall and Dwayne Dunn. And you know, let's throw Rich Jetty into that mix, as he's only a little bit behind, but you know, still able to keep a good gap. Yeah, so we'll see how this goes, watching through other stuff as we keep the night going.
If this goes green flag the rest of the way here, I think only the top 5 is going to be in the lead lap at the end of it, just because of the fact that we've got so many damaged trucks from 6 on back. Hey, we maybe have a spinner on the front straightaway. I think that number 30 of Lewis Robinette may have lost it, but he actually saved it, so good save from the number 30. I heard her squealing. I was like, uh-oh, here we go again, but he locked it down, hit the wall at the tail end, and was able to get that truck going. But he's had a really rough night, as a lot of other drivers have. But like I was saying, I don't think Stephen Herring's gonna be able to hold on for that long. I think he's probably gonna get lapped right here. Oh, but we do have a caution flag. I don't know where it is again, because it's definitely it's on the front straightaway. I was just looking. I don't think it was, but we have a caution. Once again, I just don't know where it is.
Yeah, it's always hard to...
31 of Mark McCrary on the backstretch. He looks like he got the car spun around off of turn number 2. And when he... Oh, wow, he hit the inside wall hard. He's probably done after that. When he went to spin the truck around, that's when the caution flew.
Yeah, you know, now we're seeing drivers come down pit road. Maybe it was the case of tires. We were doing about, I think it was 30 to 40 laps under green flag conditions. So, you know, tires were going to come into a factor sooner or later. So, you know, here we come into pit lane, as you see the number 32 jacking that truck up to the right sides, and as well the number 3 in the 88. So we'll see if they do left sides as well. They will, and they're going to be off and away. Let's see who gets off pit road first. Number 3 going to battle a little bit. No, Christian Peterson able to keep it.
Christian Peterson wins the race off pit road, and we will take a moment to step aside, get a commercial break under our belts, and come back to some hopefully long green flag runs here at Lucas Oil Raceway. You've been watching LSRTV here at Lucas Oil.
Racing, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast, often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Welcome back to the Lucas Oil Raceway, as Christian Peterson won the battle up pit road and will lead these guys to the start-finish line for this restart of multiple. But they have had one of the longest green flag run of over 50 laps that last time by. So they're hoping to get itch for another one as well. Christian Peterson rounds 3 and 4, with Aaron Bennett who's outside. Seth the Merchant's right behind with Walker and Jetty in the 5th position here tonight. He gets a great run on the inside, has teammate right behind him in the 57. He's going to probably go down to the bottom and get right in front of him. Bennett's going to try and squeeze out to the outside, get some momentum here. He does do that, and they'll be side by side for the 2nd position here on the restart.
That was a very familiar picture that we saw right there with Christian Peterson and Seth the Merchant on the restart. Seth the Merchant a little sideways into the number 3, very tight, able to keep it going. That's some fantastic racing right there, as we have just seen. Probably the closest call of the night. Now we're 3 wide for position behind them, 57, 68, and 93. They're very close. Oh my gosh, that was so close. You know, Rich Jetty, you know, we were talking about it earlier. He went end over end, and he's fighting. He is contending for position, so that's pretty cool to see, as that was very close. Now we're all calmed down a little bit, spread out, and we'll see how this works out for them and see how long this green flag run is.
Here's what I like about what the 57 did. Now, of course, not that what he did when he hit him, but he let him pick that thing up. He let the number 3 pick the car up and lost multiple positions and a lot of ground in order for him to do that. So something that Seth didn't want to do was the initial contact. But really cool to see. But he gets in the wall right there. He absolutely just slammed that truck on the right side. So I can check Seth the Merchant off the list now for hitting the wall. And so that is everybody off the list. Everyone has damage now in this field. So, yay! Everyone in this field has damage. And quite frankly, it's still running really good. I mean, there's a lot of trucks out here that, you know, have some small amounts of damage, but everyone's got some. Oh, big wreck on the front straightaway. Turn number 1. Oh, wow. I think the 11's dead. That was a huge hit. Yeah, it looks like the number 80 got in the outside wall, and the 11 just killed the inside wall. Went up in the air, all four wheels off the ground, and... Oh, wow. Another wreck here on the front straightaway, and... Not sure what happened with the 80. Looks like the wall just kind of grabbed him. The 31 got into him. The 12 had nowhere to go, and then whenever the 12 hit the 31, the 11 just went down the inside lane, pounded the inside wall.
That was a violent wreck. As you know, you just get cars that are one slower than the other, and you know, you're going to get into each other most likely, and we saw that case just right there. You see that hard contact right there. Very unfortunate for that number 11 machine, as his night might still be keep on going. So we see leaders now coming down the pit road. 32 in for 4 tires possibly. We see the right side up and back down, and left sides as well. So 4 tires and gas, as that will give Jamie Walker the lead, and Christian Peterson, oh, he's in pit lane, my bad. 37 to Dustin Hall will be right behind him.
And I do believe that Jamie Walker was one of the drivers to stay out. He's been kind of having issues earlier, but it looks like everyone has had issues. Kind of anybody that's wanted to pass, they've had issues. I think that's just kind of the way this race has been produced. You know, we're trying to pass the inside lane. There's not a lot of grip there, so you kind of have to push the truck a little harder than you would normally, and the inside lane just doesn't have grip, and so when you go to try and make that pass, you tend to get on the gas, make the tires spin just a little bit more, and the rear end kicks out. Yeah, you'll get the positioning, but you'll also be a little bit looser. And I think just because of that, we'll continue to see that possibly be an issue as we're hitting lap 142 this next time by. Definitely seeing a lot of strategy being put into play. Dustin Hall, I think this is the highest he's been all night long. Started in the 21st position. He's one of our bigger movers of the night. He's in the 2nd place position. Peterson's going to be right behind him in 3rd. Looks like we've got, I think that's the number 80 machine. Just got in that wreck. Yeah, that's Scott Hermosa, who was just involved in that wreck. So he's 4 laps down. He'll either pass the field on a wave around or go to the end of the line and go with the other lap trucks here. Looks like they're going to pass him right here, but top 5 is Walker, Hall, Peterson, DeMerchant, and Simley. Simley's kind of had an uneventful night except for that wreck he had earlier, and it's kind of just been sitting around. Jeff Ryan, he is in the 6th position, one of his better races that he's had. And then Dwayne Dunn, I don't know how that truck's still out there. I thought he was done whenever he hit the wall on lap 15, but 130-odd laps later, he's still in the thick of it. Same as Rich Jetty. I mean, I think if he gets a top 5, he deserves something, because his truck went up and over, flipped a couple times, and barely made it back on all 4s. And you can only repair that truck so much down pit road, and you can only flip so many times before that truck is just done. And you can see that the truck is kind of to shreds a little bit. But hey, if he can keep going, I mean, he'd be one of a few drivers that's been able to do that in the sim, where it doesn't just completely wreck your truck by flipping over.
Yeah, very fortunate for him, as you know, I made a note, top 10. You know, we have 5 drivers that didn't take times and 5 drivers that did take time, so you know, it's working out for both of them. So we'll see how many people finish.
Jamie Walker going to lead these drivers to the restart. I think it's his first one here. Looks like Justin Hall's having a little bit of connection issues, but they should be able to be fine behind him. Looks like a slow start behind him because of it, but Jamie Walker gets an absolutely good dive into turn number 1, gets a good lead over the 32 of Peterson. Peterson was the first driver to take tires, so you'll definitely see that come to fruition here as they are being led by the 88. Going to turn number 3 and 4, they are single filed out through the first, looks like 7, 8, 9 positions here. Looks like 37 still trying to make things work out. Despite having the connection issues, Simley gets around him. Dwayne Dunn's going to go to the inside lane to try and pass him as well. Not really working out here for him right now. Dunn has to back out of it. He is going to try and get back on the wheel. Looks like the 93 Jetty gets in the outside wall pretty hard right there. Eventful night for him, and so he's going to continue going forward. But Peterson also got in the wall as well, and so he's lost a few positions just about everyone's had a little bit of issues, so that's going to get the, Scott Simley to be around him. It's going to have Seth the Merchant get around him, and Jamie Walker sits in the first position, slightly uncontested for the moment, but look at DeMerchant. If he can complete a league sweep this week, it would be pretty dang amazing, which if he does it tonight, I would consider this to be a league week sweep for him.
Dominant performance by him all week long. Is, you know, this, with everybody getting to the wall, this kind of reminding me of Darlington, everybody getting that Lucas Oil stripe, and you know, it's pretty cool. It's 3 sideways now, almost able to save it. Sideways caution out.
Oh man, we saw that. Oh, he gets tagged. The 33 just tagged him, and that's gonna be the end of the night for Aaron Bennett. I don't know what just happened, why they ran into him, what happened. But he was all but fine, just spun out, and then he gets tagged. He lost that on his own in 3 and 4, kind of comes back up the track, and then the 33 slows down and just barrels into him. I mean, the 33's been in like 3 or 4 accidents that he could have avoided by this time in the race, so Aaron Bennett's, his night's over with. He's got a blown motor.
I am speechless. I think that guy just got loose and barreled right into him, as you said. But, you know, definitely an end to his night, as well as the guy who was piloting that car that got loosed. But that was quite the shakeup, as now another shakeup, 88, into the lead over Seth, over Christian Peterson. Lead off pit road. You know, Christian Peterson got into the wall, so probably getting a little bit of damage fixed right there, so we'll see how that works out for him.
I'm wondering which drivers are going to survive. I said it earlier, this is going to be a road to survival for a lot of these drivers, and some guys who had issues earlier, if they've been kind of just sitting in it, sitting in this race, kind of just waiting for something to happen, well, this has been their race, you know. I think Jeff Ryan has really benefited off of it. Rich Jetty has benefited off of it. Yeah, Jetty was only in 1 accident and it looked fatal, but he's still out there. On the number 3, he's gonna be done, I think. I don't think he's gonna be able to really make many more laps here tonight. I think he's already fallen. It says he's in 2nd place position, but he's got himself a blown motor. It's just not gonna happen for him as he's sitting on pit road. So he'll go 1 lap down, go to like 13th place or something like that here this time by. He's gonna start falling down the standings, but this has just been a chaotic race. We had a little bit of, I think a little grace period of 50 laps or so, but we've got 50 laps to go now. It's been one of those races here, Trevor, that I was not expecting to be like this. Or sorry, Trevin. But, you know, right now we're looking at Seth the Merchant. He has one of the fastest trucks out there. Doesn't really have that much damage. And 88 behind him, Jamie Walker, he's been fast. Scott Simley's kind of been an unknown. We haven't really seen him up here at the front. Dwayne Dunn's got a ton of damage. Stephen Herring, we haven't really seen come up here all night. I don't know how this is going to end, Trevin, at all. I have no clue. And I think that's just kind of how this race has been. It's been an unknown, and realistically, I think you could throw 5 cards on the ground and pick one. You might be right.
Yeah, absolutely. As you know, we're coming to pacing. I believe lights are out in the pace car, so we'll get ready to go racing again, and it's definitely a puzzle on what's going to happen here coming to the end, as we are less than 50 laps to go. So coming to green flag.
Might be a toss-up, but I think those guys at the front are going to try and change that. Seth the Merchant will get these guys started, and oh, what is going on up here? Looks like Rich J was trying to get his position back before the green flag. Seth the Merchant, however, gets an amazing jump over the rest of the field, over Jamie Walker and Scott Simley and company. He's going to get himself about 1 or 2 truck lengths in front of him. These guys are getting pretty spread out now because of the differences and how much damage they have on their trucks, so looks like the Merchant going to get himself about a 1 or 2 truck length lead over the number 88 of Jamie Walker, who has come up and down throughout the field. And I know it'd be a big deal for Walker to do what he's done tonight and you know, have the issues he's had and come back and rally. Same thing with the 68. I think the only driver who's consistently been up towards the front in this top 5 has been the 57 of Seth the Merchant, but even he has had to fall back down to go and get repairs. So right now this top 5 is pretty clear, but everyone else behind is not doing so well. That's Christian Peterson coming out of the pit road, but we'll have another caution here on the speedway, and it will appear to be the number 31 of McCrary, the 34 George Hendricks here for another caution. It's not a small one here, and it looks like another piece of contact with the 11. Just another incident off turn number 4. Matt Mara just gets Matt Mara and Jeff Ryan. Yeah, they have an accident, and it's not actually that bad, but they do get sideways.
Yeah, it's just close racing. You know, they see that it's less than the 50 laps, so they're gonna want to try and fight for some battles and fight for position. So we'll see how this works out for them coming out of lap number 154.
Taking a look at the replay, it definitely looks like just a little bit of contact went a little farther than it needed to, but realistically, it's just hard to get out of the turn 4. But a lot of the accidents are happening on the front straightaway. So while we pace on lap 150, it looks like we're on lap 157. We'll take our final commercial break of the evening, and we'll be expecting to have these guys back to green flag racing right after this.
I'm driving the number 20 JGR Toyota Xfinity car this weekend. Really great opportunity here at New Hampshire at my home track. Over the past 2 weeks, I've been on iRacing, practicing a little bit here and there with the modified and the NASCAR Xfinity car, so it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great tool for me to kind of get used to that stock car body again and be prepared for the race today. Well, yeah, it's a mile long, so the draft kind of plays into effect here with the modifieds. Punches a big hole in the air, and we run restrictor plates. So it makes a big difference. Just really fast, and it's our Daytona. So that's what's great about it, and we have a fast car for tomorrow. I think the biggest thing is they're heavier cars. The tire's a lot different. And the way you go about setting them up is a lot different. They use all 4 tires more than a modified, where we typically drive off the right rear, you know, so. Well, actually, it's funny. I raced NASCAR race in 2003 before iRacing came about. And then when iRacing came about, my friend Kevin Iannarelli, who works at iRacing, kind of told me, hey, man, you need to switch over to this. And when I did, I was like, oh, my God, this is like real life. So I started using it as a tool of mine to really prepare for modified races, whether it was Stafford or Thompson or Loudon, Bristol, and then obviously the Xfinity Series last year, going to road courses, trying to get laps, and use it as a tool that can get me as prepared as I could be without actually doing it. So it's been great.
Racing, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast, often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Welcome back to the Lucas Oil Raceway. We're about ready to go green. Seth the Merchant looks to be the driver in charge right now on lap 161 here this time by. We'll have a 40-lap dash to the end of the race with Jamie Walker to his outside. Green flag in the air. The Merchant gets a great start over everyone, and he will go down to turn 1 uncontested. Looks like the battle per second is the same, and these drivers will get going single file for the first 7 positions here on the speedway.
Yeah, fantastic restart again by Seth the Merchant. Number 88 is going to get a little bit contested by the number 68 of Scott Simley. Also by the number 39 Ryan Dunn, kind of putting pressure on the number 68 Scott Simley. So we'll see how that goes as well. Number 88 trying to hold them off as we see them get single filed out again. You see number 93 of Richard Jetty in 7th position again. He's going to battle for a position with that number 9 machine. I've been talking a lot about him because he was involved in an incident where he was up end over end. So
car round, turn number 3 and 4. Car round, turn number 3 and 4. That is going to be Jeff Ryan once again. Second caution in a row that he has either spun out or spun somebody out, and looks like someone on pit road just had their engine expire as well. So Jeff Ryan, I think it was just a self-spin coming into turn number 3. I'm going to have to take a second look at it. Looks like he and the Merchant might have got into it. No, he loses it completely on his own and was not able to lock it down, turn the car right back up the track, and almost gets hit, I think, by... not sure who that was. It looks like to be George Hendricks. So he will cause the, I think, 15th caution here on the night. A lot of cautions tonight for these guys. So uncharacteristic of how their seasons have typically gone, but got to play with what the cards have given them. 10 trucks on the lead lap here on lap 164, and here is where you ask the question, Trevin. Do you come down pit road at any point anymore if you're got anyone in the top 5, or is it too late? You only have 10 trucks on the lead lap, but no one else is really coming down, and all that strategy that was being played out earlier to maybe guess where the green flag pit stops were going to come out, that's not happening, and it won't happen. There will be no green flag pit stops the rest of this race, at least that I think of here right now.
Yeah, and you know, you saw that first green flag run that we saw maybe about 6 cautions in, and they were doing some good stuff. There was some passing still going on about halfway through that run, so you know, with 31 laps, 32 laps to go when we go back to green, it should be good. You know, no more green flag pit stops, no more of that. So we'll see who will be able to or who will take tires and who won't, if there is another caution, which I'm quite sure that there will be with this track handling the way that it is. But you know, it's gonna be interesting to see who's gonna be taking what tires. You know, it's all about the restart, as you can see, just dominating restart after restart. Whoever's in first, you know, they get a great restart into turn 1 and they're off. And you saw Jeff Ryan take his car behind the wall.
Jeff Ryan done for the night, and he will not have a bid anymore in this race, so he'll go 1 lap down. Chris Cabot will get his lap back, and I tell you what, Chris Cabot looked to be completely out of this race at one point, and he's got his lap back. So in good fashion, he'll try and be able to hold the last place in the top 10 here at this moment, and see what he can do on the likes of Peterson, Dustin Hall, Rich Jetty, who... Jetty looks like he's comfortably in the top 10 right now and doesn't look to be losing it. We keep talking about him, but at the same time, how can you roll over your truck and not be so proud to just be in the top 10, maybe even have a shot at the top 5?
Yeah, you know, I am in awe of that, and you know, it's something you don't see every day. You know, you're flipping. Usually, you see a car flipping down the front stretch, and you're like, oh, this day is done now. And you know, now he's contesting for possibly a 5th place finish with a dinged up race car, so that's pretty cool to see. Definitely a storyline tonight at Lucas Oil Raceway as we're coming closer and closer to the end of the race. Now lights are out on top of the pace car, and we're going to be coming back to green, green throughout turn number 4. Let's see if Seth the Merchant can get another great race restart going.
Yep, Seth the Merchant on the inside of Jamie Walker, and with the restarts that Seth Merchant's been having, I mean, he gets almost 6/10 of a lead on these restarts, and it looks like it's going to be coming down to these restarts, and we've had a lot of lead changes, but right now it's been pretty consistently Seth the Merchant here in the last 20, 30 laps, and he's kind of gone through adversity as a lot of other drivers have as well. On the green flag goes number 57 of Seth the Merchant, and he once again gets a fantastic lead over the rest of these drivers and gets 4, 5, maybe even 6 truck lengths ahead of everybody. Look at the 32 back in the pack right there, trying to get his way back up to the front. Number 32 was 1 lap down at one point in this race, and he's going to try and get it all back here. Drive from Peterson goes from 8th to 5th in 1 lap, trying to get around all these drivers. 30 laps to go next time by, and he's going to be one to watch to see if he can get any one more.
Yeah, and he definitely had a pedal to the metal on that lap as the 39's getting really close to the wall. Christian Peterson trying to take advantage of that, as well as number 93 of Rich Jetty, but he might be a little bit too far behind. Number 93 gonna just get out of the way. That's Rich, or 39, excuse me. That's Dwayne Dunn. Just get out of the way, seeing that he has a faster car and not really wanting to cause another issue for the field. Coming now, contestant number 68, trying to get up to him. This is a fantastic run by Christian Peterson. As you said, he was a lap down and now up to 4th position, trying to get to his teammate of Seth the Merchant and try to contest for that lead.
Yeah, good battle for 2nd place right here between Jamie Walker and Scott Simley as it's going to continue. And those guys battled for position earlier. Simley gave way to the 88, and he was able to get the position, but right now, with them having a little bit of a bout between themselves, looks like the 32 is going to be coming into the picture and trying to maybe spice some things up. And DeMerchant looks like he's got himself a very fast truck, but Peterson has a faster truck. That is without a doubt right now. Peterson came down, got tires not too long ago, and these guys have been on the same amount of tires for quite some time. And with Peterson doing that, oh, he gets a little bit of, oh wow, those front wheels had locked up a little bit, and he's still losing the handling on that truck right now, and so he will lose a lot of time on low. So definitely doesn't want to do that. He's going to have to pass both these guys, which are not going to let him by really that. He's not going to let him by hardly at all if they can help it. And so that lead between DeMerchant and Walker only gets larger. It's at 0.8 of a second while they're continuing to fight for 2nd place.
Yeah, that was a very great save by the number 32, Christian Peterson. Into the wall now, just, pushing that car to its limits, so wanting to get to that point with 25 laps to go. Number 88 and 68 of Scott Simley and Jamie Walker still battling it out throughout, as, now the number 32 coming back again, seeing if he's got a great arc into that corner, but he's getting really close to that wall, so, one little mishap, and he's going to be sending himself right into the wall or around into the infield. But he's got a great line so far. So we'll see how this develops going into the final stages of this lap. Meanwhile, Seth the Merchant just dominating the field now in 32. Caution out.
Caution out on the Raceway. We'll check and see where it is at. Oh, looks like we got a car stuck. That's Shane Hawthor. He's stuck in the wall, which is not the first time we've seen that tonight. I'm really unsure how that happened, but looked like it just got loose and then hit the wall, and the wall just decided, I'm gonna take you. Lucas Oil has literally taken the driver tonight, and he tried to get out of the wall, but the wall just held on to him. It was you're not getting out of that one there, Mr. Shane. So we will have another caution here on the night. And like you said, it may not be the last one, but may definitely change it. Looks like the 57 went to go down pit road and psyched one driver out. That's going to be the 68 coming down and a couple others coming down as well. Looks like the 39 is going to be coming down as well. That's Dwayne Dunn. Rich Jetty is going to come for some service. It looks like just about everyone else outside the top 3 is going to come down pit road, get some service on the machine. So this is going to change the way it's the front 3 really have to race, because Merchant's been really solid right here on these restarts, getting a really good jump, but guess who's behind him? Christian Peterson. Those guys are teammates. If the Merchant wants to, he can say, hey, I'm going to put my hand out the window and I'm going to let you know when I go, which we've seen them do earlier on in the race. I don't know if he's going to be doing that this time because of the fact that Peterson has a very good truck himself and might be able to get around him after the fact, but realistically, all things considered, I think the Merchant's in a really good position, but those trucks coming on with new tires, they may have something to say about it too. I also want to give an update on the 3. He's back out there. They stuffed a new engine in that machine with the amount of cautions we've had. He's been able to stuff a new engine in that thing, which is legal in this series, and so well, in all of the series in iRacing, you just go down pit road and get yourself a new engine after 30 minutes of waiting for it to magically just enter your vehicle. He's 14 laps down in 17th, and he's still got a couple positions he could get at the end of the night.
Yeah, and a lot of cars, a lot of laps down, but thankfully he's only 14 laps down, so that will give way to him being able to make up a little bit of positions that he's lost so far from that incident, that unfortunate incident that happened earlier with the car spinning into him and ending, well, not ending his night, but putting a halt to it and a little slowdown. But now we're pacing, lap 180. out of 200. These guys got off to a rocky start, then were able to, you know, get a little bit under their belt, and then now a little bit of a rocky ending. But we'll see how this works out with now 19 laps to go. Seth the Merchant still in the lead, followed by Jamie Walker, Christian Peterson, Scott Simley, and Dwayne Dunn in your top 5. Again, I want to point out Rich Jetty still hanging tough in P6, so I'm sure he'll be able to fight his way into the top 5, and that'll just be a fantastic story at the end of the night.
Yeah, him just getting throughout the race would be definitely good. I think a lot of these drivers are just going to be really happy to get to the end of the race, knowing that realistically, it's not something that you're wanting to be proud of just to get to the end of the race. But I think that all these drivers are going to be extremely happy. You know, 11 trucks on the lead lap. Mark McCurry just got his lap back and is coming out of pit road right now. It's going to be really satisfying to just get the car to the end of the race. But also got to mention that this is a 2-hour server that these guys are in, so kind of I like to say it's virtual rain, but they hit the 2-hour marker and the race would necessarily be over. But realistically, it's a 3-hour server, but nonetheless, these guys, if they ever hit that mark, it'd still go for a couple more laps anyways. But Seth the Merchant right now, he is on the inside once again. Looks like a blown motor is kind of fogging our view of turn number 3. But he goes way early. No team communication that time by. Did not let Christian Peterson know. So definitely knows that the race is on the line. If he tells him, knows that the number 32 has a fast truck. And you can definitely tell with him getting off the corner. And the number 39 is going to get a caution going out. That is going to bring out another caution on this raceway on lap 183. Doesn't matter whether it's at the beginning or the end of a race, we are still going to have cautions coming out. And I think Shane Hawthorne somehow got that truck unstuck. I'm not exactly sure how that happened. I think he got a virtual tow, but Scott Simley has been clean for a majority of the night, and here at the end he gets tagged, and so one more driver will come off the bench, get their lap back, but I don't think anyone will be on the lead lap after this. But Scott Simley, I think, will actually be able to get his position back after that one.
Yeah, you know, just getting a great run off the corner, and then going a little bit faster than the guy in front of you. And, you know, Dwayne Dunn just gets into the 68 of Scott Simley, and, you know, it all breaks loose. So, you know, that's just an unfortunate thing, as you see cars also wrecking behind them. You know, it's just a reaction thing. So we'll see how it happens. And now Christian Peterson has taken the point.
Peterson taking control of the lead here. I'm unsure of what the strategy call is going to be for him the rest of the race. He's got to stick with what he's got. And no, I think you look at Seth the Merchant and say to yourself, wow, yeah, I've got a lot of cars to pass, but if I can get a couple cars on this next restart and it goes green on the way, I might be screwed. But if you go to the end of the race and it has a couple cautions, you might be in a really good position. I think it just depends on how these cautions fall. Remember, if there's a caution within the last 5 laps, it's over. You know, there's going to be no contest the rest of the race. It'll be over. So the pace cars lights are still on. So with 15 laps to go, I think it's a little risky for the Merchant to come get tires. But he will be one of the fastest trucks, if not the fastest truck out there at this moment.
Yeah, less than 15 laps to go, and Christian Peterson again just, you know, rocking it away on every restart. So, you know, he also has one of the most cleanest cars on the track out on right now, and, you know, a little bit better than number 88. Nonetheless, Jamie Walker could still contest for that lead. So we'll see how it goes, and, you know, you also have to watch out for that limit. You know, it could end under caution, and, you know, it could be just a bad ending to a bad night. As now you see, I want to point out that in the top 10, there's only 4 drivers that took times in the beginning, and yeah, 6 drivers that didn't take time. So that played out to benefit to most of these drivers. And Rich Jetty, I didn't even realize that he is in 3rd place. Wow. Pacing down the backstretch now, Christian Peterson still your leader. Lap 187 working, as might get a restart I get a restart going next time by, we're going to have to look at the lights on the pace car coming through the line, and yes, they are off, so we're getting ready to go back racing.
I think the more caution laps that they have, the less chance that Merchant has to get the win, because I didn't think that they were going to run that many caution laps, but yeah, they are, and you know, another caution will, I think, make it a little bit more difficult. Dustin Hall, Michael Warner in this, and like you said, Rich Jetty's in third. He's got a chance. You know, if these two leaders get into it together, you know, Rich Jetty already almost had the chance at getting a win earlier on in the season, but right now he's in third place and might be in the right place, right time. So we'll have 12 laps to go, I think. When we get the green flag right here, Christian Peterson going to lead these guys on it, and he goes right away to the inside line, going pretty fast, and looks like Peterson will get going right away, and they'll go 3 wide for position here. That's the Merchant on the very bottom of the track. You know he's got to get going. He's going to go from his position all the way to the 5th position, and he's going to have long haul in front of him. 11 laps to go. Sorry, that was last time. And this time, we will have 10 laps to go. I think Peterson's got it in the bag if he can just navigate his way throughout this field. Don't think it's just going to be... I don't think that tire advantage is good enough for the number 57.
Yeah, you can see him try to contest it down on the low line, but, you know, he's just... caught him a little bit. Yeah, whoa. Number 37 of Dustin Hall just had a really big break, different braking lines as we were talking about with a short track, and now he's going past Rich Jetty, little sliding up. That was very close for Rich Jetty, as you see him now falling behind Dustin Hall. Seth the Merchant on a mission to get to that point, to Christian Peterson. Jamie Walker trying as well to get to the back bumper of Christian Peterson, as now you see a very familiar sight with Christian Peterson, Jamie Walker, and Seth the Merchant leading the field coming to the end of this race.
There's got to be fire trails coming out the back of the 57. He's absolutely rolling on these guys in front of him. He's just tearing their times apart. The tires was a great decision. He's going to get the outside lane on the 88 right here, which is a big break for him. No contest for position, and that's going to be only a 10th taken off the number 32. That's the leader. This will be the battle for the win, the lead, everything. Every lap matters for the 57. He's got to hit his marks every time, and then once he gets up to Peterson, he's actually gonna have to pass him as well. And don't forget, if we have a caution within 5 laps to go, it will be over. Only 1/10 that time by for Seth the Merchant, and a caution's gonna come out. That's gonna change everything, and I think that's not gonna end it. That's gonna be a huge break for DeMerchant and Peterson. That's really stinks for Peterson, because I think he might have had that one, but caution out on the speedway for the final time.
Yeah, that's a very unfortunate timing, because one more lap, if he got to that stripe, it would have been over, but he was on lap 194, so that's statistically saying gonna give us, I think, 1 lap. So Christian Peterson got to get everything he's got on this final restart, as well as Seth the Merchant, and maybe even Jamie Walker can get into the mix. But fantastic racing by all these guys up front, all around, all night long. So, you know, we're in for a great finish and some great battles, as you've seen Christian Peterson take the lead, Seth the Merchant take the lead, even Jamie Walker take the lead. And, you know, all these guys have all been quick at some point or another in the night. So, you know, now is the time that's really going to count. You know, 196 laps working, and, you know, it's all going to come down to this last restart. I don't think anybody's going to take tires. It's just going to be whoever can get out in front first, and whoever can, you know, keep it down and not get it loose on the corner exit, get over eager on the corner exit.
Peterson will try everything he can, but those new tires are just, I think they're just going to obliterate Peterson's chances of winning. But if they go out there on this 1 lap or 2 laps, it might be 2. But if a caution comes out, if they have 2 laps, then it's Peterson's win. You know, if they go crazy here on the restart, which is not terribly out of the question, it will be a chance. So I think the only thing that Peterson really has to hope on is that he can, you know, stay on the outside lane, make it so that Seth has no chance to get around him by maybe maybe blocking a little bit to the, not to the, quite to the outside lane, but, you know, kind of getting to a part where he's got to really, really dig down deep and find some extra speed. But you know, DeMerchant's versed in this, at this track. We've seen him go below the yellow line, right next to the grass, and try and get time, get positions, do everything he can to just get that car to the next level. So as we cross the stripe this time by, we will have a few laps to go. Watching that pace car, it still has its lights on. We'll have 2 laps to go next time by. If the pace car's lights are not off the next time, the race is over. But I'm very confident, very confident they still have at least another lap to go.
Yeah, and you know, talking about the stakes, you know, Christian Peterson looking for his 2nd win, Seth the Merchant looking for his 6th win, and excuse me, I'm blanking on the name, Jamie Walker looking for his 1st win on the night, so, or on the season. So you know, we'll see how these guys all shape out. You know, Dustin Hall's in the mix still, but does not have that really preferred line on the inside, that open air when Christian Peterson goes out. But you know, anything can happen tonight as we're looking for the lights to go off, as they are off. So we're going to get 1 lap of racing, a great way to finish out the night here at Lucas Oil Raceway. You see Seth the Merchant already revving up the tires, getting ready to go, getting very eager to get on the loud pedal when this place goes green.
The most important lap of this entire race will happen on lap 200, and it'll be between good and old tires. You know that they're talking to each other before this restart, but when it happens, it'll be all their trucks doing the talking. So it's Peterson versus DeMerchant and Walker as well between these 3 drivers, I'd have to say. And Peterson, when does he go? He goes right now. He gets an amazing jump on the 57. White flag is displayed with the green flag. And where does DeMerchant make his move? He's going to go to the outside, to the very top, get some momentum here out of turn number 2. Peterson might actually be too far away for him to catch going to turn number 3. Will he have enough? He's going to go out on the bottom. Looks like the number 32 may have overdrove. He's going to be just shy. It's going to be the 32 to win the race.
And it's 57 with a little sliding action across the finish line. That was a fantastic finish. 57 closed in very tightly to that number 32 machine, but was not able to get the job done, as you see the number 57 going by and congratulating the 32. And a valiant effort by Jamie Walker, and Rich Jetty coming in 6th place. That's fantastic.
And DeMerchant getting the 2nd place finish. It wasn't what he was looking for, but still a really, really good night for him. In the grand scheme of things, we'll be able to keep hold of the championship lead. And what they were talking about, those 2, the 6-man 8 guys, they're talking about trying to get Peterson into the championship hunt at the end of the season, and I think he's going to probably have good chances of doing that, especially by winning like this tonight. So he will do some tricks here on the track. He's going to dirt track it around turns 1 and 2, and he's going to almost spin out right there. But him and teammate DeMerchant, they're going to have some fun around the track. And while they do that, we'll talk to those 2 guys and Jamie Walker in just a moment. We're going to take a quick step aside. We'll be right back here after this break. Welcome back to LSR TV. We'll go through your full field running order as they finished. Christian Peterson won the race with Seth the Merchant finishing second, Jamie Walker third. We'll talk to this race in just a moment. Dustin Hall, he'll finish in the 4th position with Scott Simler rounding out the top 5. Rich Jetty, after flipping his car multiple times, he finishes in the 6th position, which is one of the most impressive things about the night. Michael Warren finishes 7th, McCrary finishes 8th place, Stephen Herring 9th, and then Chris Cabot finishes the last truck, last lap down, or on the lead lap, in 10th.
Finishing 11th rather. It's been a long night. Greg Mall finishing 12th. Michael Waite 13th will go to Scott Formosa. Dwayne Dunn will finish 14th. Shane Hother got stuck in the wall, finishing 15th. Matt Mara finishing 16th. Aaron Bennett finishing 17th. Jeff Ryan 18th. Robert Gillenwater 19th. Lewis Robin finishing 20th.
Finishing in the 21st position is Keith Butt, and then you've got George Hendricks finishing 22nd. Bobby Terrell finishes 23rd. Michael Atkins Jr. 24th. Cody Gibson, he is in the he's going to finish 25th. Randy Yoakum 26th. Steve Price Jr. 27th. 28th finishes Joshua Banks with Brian Cutts finishing 29th. Justin Michael finishes a little early, and he finishes 30th position. Ralph Vandervorst, he finishes 31st, with Ricky Howell finishing in 32nd position. We're going to go to Victory Lane here and talk to your winner, Christian Peterson. Christian, you got the job done, but it was definitely contested there at the end. Most important lap was on a restart, and you had to execute that restart perfectly because the Merchant had some of the had the newest tires out there by far.
Yeah, for sure. The race was really long, and it was pretty mentally draining. But we got back up through the field there right at the end, and I couldn't believe when Seth pit with 10 to go and gave up or whatever and gave up the lead. That was pretty crazy to me, but he proved it by getting back up to second, and definitely had my heart pounding there.
I'll tell you that you're I'm sorry, I'll let you finish.
I was telling him where I was going on the restarts for the most of the night, like for the team speak, and I was like, you already know I'm not telling you where I'm going on this. He was like, just don't go in the middle of the corner. So I was like, all right, I'll give you a good a rough estimate. Did that, and job done.
Well, I'll tell you that your quest to make the championship is only getting better and better as you get better finishes throughout the season. How important is this win to try and get you into that top 12?
Yeah, I think especially, I mean, yeah, we just got to keep podium, really. The wins are going to help. I don't know. I think we led a bunch of laps tonight. Top sled. But the race was pretty crazy with all the cautions, and I think all the front guys didn't manage to stay out of. So I'm pretty sure everybody got into something there. But yeah, definitely just gonna try to keep putting in Victory Lane. And
all right, there you have it. The number 32 of Christian Peterson finishes in first place tonight. Christian, who makes it happen for you?
Just got to thank everybody at Six Man, Vincier, Beast Racing, everybody who came out to the show. This is a good track. I wish we could have got some more green flag laps, but it was pretty fun overall.
All right, there you have it. Christian Peterson finished the night in the lead and wins the race. Christian, we might talk to you later on in the season.
All right, thank you.
And I'll pass it down to Trevin, who's going to catch up with Seth the Merchant and Jamie Walker here tonight.
Down here on pit road with Seth the Merchant, starting 15th and finishing second. Quite a good run by the number 57 machine. What was the strategy involved with not taking a qualifying time and being able to take that second place position? That definitely worked out in your favor. So is this what you were planning on, or just wanting to stay out of the wrecks early on?
No, I ran what would have been the qualifying or the pole lap in qualifying, but I touched the wall just a little bit and it didn't count my lap, so I had to start in the back, drive up through the field, and I knew there at the end there were 10 to go. Christian had probably about 35 lap better tires than I did, and I knew that I had to do something because he was most likely just going to drive around me there. So made a last second Hail Mary play and took tires and Just needed to stay green there at the end. I think I would have got him, but just a lot of cautions tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Very close to a victory tonight. Who do you want to thank, sponsors and shoutouts?
Just 6-man, Christian and Aaron for putting on the league.
That was the the driver in the number 57 machine, now on pit road with the number 88 of Jamie Walker, starting second, finishing third. Very good run by him as well. Jamie coming off of a super speedway and onto one of the shortest tracks that you're going to be on, and definitely a wrench into the schedule. How did you guys fare on the track? I saw a lot of. It was very difficult for you guys to adjust from super speedway to a short track.
For me personally, I prefer the short tracks. I excel at some of the shorter flat tracks, so I was waiting for this one.
And you know, very hard fighting, and you know, was it hard to manage with all these cautions? And I know that you guys wanted to stretch your legs a little bit, but it just didn't happen. You know, how'd you deal with all these cautions that were happening?
Truthfully, yeah, the cautions were costing me the most. Because I'm a rhythm driver. I got to get into my rhythm, and if I get knocked out of my rhythm, I cause mistakes. Like when I ran into Peterson there, I just flat out locked it up, got in the seam, and I got into him there. It was my fault, but you know, it was just hard racing there. I just missed my corner.
Absolutely. Now, sponsors and shoutouts.
I got to thank everybody over at Young Guns Motorsports, of course. Mountain Dew, they're back on there for a little while. Be bouncing back and forth between the Young Guns truck and the Mountain Dew truck. And then also you guys here in the booth. You guys do an awesome job.
Well, thank you. And that was the driver of the number 88 machine, Jamie Walker. Austin Koopman, back to you.
An eventful night, but nonetheless, it was not without sparks at the end, and a very close battle between the two 6-man 8 drivers, and Jamie Walker was there as well to definitely mix it up. And I gotta say, I have to say it one more time, for Rich Jetty to do what he did to flip over and make it to the end of the night, that's darn impressive too. I definitely gave him another shout out, and I think there was a couple drivers that had some huge hits, and just I don't know how they were somehow able to continue on tonight and to make it to the end of the race. So for everyone out there still watching, we do want to remind you to keep up on all LSRTV stuff. So you can go to livesimracing.com to go and see the Icebreaker series schedule and stuff like that, or you can go to Facebook or at LSRTV on Twitter. So from all of us in the booth, I'm Austin Coop, Trevin Valderrama, and Cisco Scarmuza. Well, not them, but they're in the booth with me. And from all of us, we want to give you a good night, and we will see you all at the next track.